Hi everybody, Lisa over at I Repair Our Devices, and today my workbench I'll be working on a MacBook Pro board 820-2530. Now this board did come up to me from another repair shop. Their note indicated that there's no green light on charger, it's not turning on, and there's no fan spin. They also mentioned that the customer dropped it off due to liquid being spilt on the laptop. They're not sure how much liquid got inside because it was working for a while afterwards and then it just went kaput. Now, the repair shop that had it prior to me did say that they did put it through the ultrasonic cleaner, and that's all they did. They thought they looked at a few components just to see if something jumped out, but they didn't have the schematics, so they just figured that they're not going to waste any more time with it, so they just sent it up to me. So now, um, the bad part is because someone already had the board prior to me, makes it just a little bit more difficult to start troubleshooting. The reason is because anytime you have liquid spilt on a board, regardless if it's a phone, tablet, your MacBook, laptop, it doesn't matter. Anytime there's liquid damage, um, corrosion is going to form around the chips and components. Now, how fast the corrosion will set in depends on the liquid itself. If you're working with something that's more acidic, it's going to go, the components are going to fail a little bit faster than if it was with normal water. But anyways, because the repair shop had it prior to me, they removed possibly some of the clues for me because now if anytime in the past I got a board that did have some sort of liquid damage, by just looking at the board, you can kind of see the areas where the liquid was at, and those are the areas you're going to focus on because that's where the corrosion is going to lie. But because they already cleaned the board for me, they basically gave me a clean slate. Now, is it the end of the world? Of course not, but it's just going to make it a little bit more difficult to troubleshoot. So, it's going to happen. You're going to get boards from other repair shops that try to tackle a job before you. Um, it's just one of those things you just gotta roll with. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind, because they're saying they're not getting a green light on the charger, right away comes in is the one wire circuit. The one wire circuit basically is going to talk to the SMC saying, "Hey, is there something plugged in? Is there enough voltage and power? If so, we're going to energize the line. If not, we're going to keep it at zero." So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to bring up the schematic, and this is the board view. I'm sorry, this is the schematic for the board 2530, and as you could see here, um, this is your MagSafe power jack that's being plugged in, and it's going to go through it's going to go a couple of paths here. You got a fuse, you got a capacitor, and then these two chips. Now, this is an AND gate. So now what happens on an AND gate is these pins 1 and 2 need to be high in order for the output, which is pin 4, to go high. So if 1 or 2 is either, if both of them are not on, you're not going to get any output. Even if one is on, the other one's off, you're not going to get any output. Both have to be high. So on the chip U6901, if the inputs are high, it's going to turn on pin 4, and then pin 4 is going to come to this chip here, U6900. Now, the U6900 is going to be powered from the SMC, which is your system management controller, and that chip basically controls a lot of the functions on your laptop. So this chip is required. Um, it's being fed in on pin 5 from your DC jack here, saying, "Hey, there's something, I'm sensing an adapter here." And then this sys1 wire is actually, it's a bidirectional line, which is going to talk back and forth to the SMC saying, "Hey, there's voltage here, there's enough voltage, there's enough power, energize me." If the SMC senses something different, it's going to keep that line low. So I'm going to first I'm going to look at this fuse. I'm going to make sure the fuse is good. And then I'm going to look at these two chips to make sure there's no corrosions on these chips, and make sure there's no short to ground before anything. So what I'm going to do is bring you back to, let's see here, Liberty, go to the front camera here, and this is the board here. What I'm going to do is just plug in the adapter, so I want to verify that we are not getting a green light. Let me turn off my light here. Oh. Okay, so no green light. We are not getting a green light on the charger. So next thing, turn the light back on, is I'm going to bring up the board view. So let's go to the board view here. Where are we at? All right, so now in the board view, I'm going to look for the fuse 6905. Oh. All right, so I need to flip the board over, and what I'm going to do is make sure I'm going to do a continuity check, a test on the fuse to make sure it's good, and then we're going to go from there. So let's bring you back here. We're going to turn on the microscope so you can see what I'm seeing here. So we got the board flipped over, and they left the speaker on and everything. All right, so let's bring, so you can see what I'm seeing here. All right, this white component right here, this is the fuse. This is the fuse right here, so I'm going to check for continuity. Okay. All right, fuse is good. Now I'm going to look for corrosion. Let's look at the U6901. This is the AND gate that I was talking about. Alright. Everything looks good there. What I'm going to do is test for shorts, because on pin 5 here, this is the this is pin 5. This is what feeds the PP3V42 line. I want to make sure there's no short to ground. So do a continuity test. So pin 5. Not showing anything to ground. Good. This is ground anyway, so that's going to, pin 3 is going to go to ground. So, but pin 5, no short, and same with pin 4, no short on pin 4. So we're good there. And now we're going to go to, let's go back to the schematic here. And see, we're going to look at the U6900 chip. So let's go on the board view. Alright, let's do U6900. Where's this guy at? Alright. Flip the board over. He's going to be up where the DC adapter comes in. So let's flip it over, go to the top. Alright, let's get you on the microscope here so you can see what I'm seeing. Get you in focus. Alright, I'm going to remove the DC connector here so I can see better on the board. And, well, there you go. we are missing the U6900 chip. Well, this is interesting. Let's zoom in. You see him? There we go. I move it one way and it goes the opposite direction on the screen here, so bear with me. There you go. Well, U69 would sit right here. We got pins. I don't know if this guy got knocked off when it was in the cleaner, but it's missing. So this would be the reason why the charger is not, it's not giving you the green light. So what I'm going to do is clean off the pads here, remove the solder, clean up the pads, apply some flux, some solder, and then what I'm going to do is get a donor board and put the replacement U6900 chip on there and see if this solves the problem. So first let's get the pads cleaned up. So I'm going to apply some flux here. And get some leaded solder onto these traces here. I want to get enough on here so when I remove the old unleaded solder, everything comes off easy. So that's what I'm going to do now is wick the pads. There we go. Okay. I'm going to clean that up real quick before applying some more flux and then putting on a new layer of leaded solder. Still on camera there? Yeah. Okay, so let's get some more flux down and then, like I said, add a fresh coat of, we're going to tin the pads with some leaded solder. Okay. So let me get my donor board and let's get that U6900. Okay, we got the chip off. So now let's bring it over here. All right. Turn them around. Oh. There we go, buddy. Work with me. All right. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add some, I got enough flux on there. What I'm going to do now is add some hot air. I'm going to flow this back onto the board. I'm just going to heat the board up from a distance and then go in. I don't want to put too much heat on the board here. Let's move the speaker out of the way. Okay, heating it up from a distance. And then I'm going to bring it in closer. All right. I'm going to pull it away. All right. Looks good, but I think I'm going to touch up these two pins here on the end here. Just apply a little bit more solder, but I'm not going to use the air. I'm not going to use the hot air. I'm just going to use the iron. So while the board is still warm, let's get these two legs a little bit better secured. Yep, there we go. These two have a little bit too much to my liking, so I'm just going to try to remove some. There we go. There. All right, let's clean it up and see if this solves the no green light. So let me get some alcohol here. Now, if we are, when I do plug in the adapter, and if we are going to get a green light, before I even try powering on the board, I am going to look for two of the most important power rails that are needed. And that would be the PP3V42 line and the PP Bus G3 Hot. Those two rails need to be present in order for the laptop to turn on. So let the board cool down just for a few seconds here. Plug in. Switch cameras here. Let's go back to the front camera. I'm going to plug in the DC jack back onto the board here. Move the speaker back into place. And I'm going to flip it over, because the two rails I'm going to be looking for, like I said, are the PP3V42 rail and then the PP Bus G3 Hotline. And those two can be found on this side of the board, so I'm going to zoom out here and let's see. Alright, I know I can get the PP Bus G3 Hot voltage reading from here, and on this line you want to get 12.6. And I know on the U6901 chip down here on pin 5, I can get the PP3V42 voltage reading. But first, before I'm jumping the gun here, let's first make sure I am getting a green light on the charger. So I'm going to turn off the light on the scope here. So let's plug this guy in. All right, got a green light, so that's a good thing. But before I try turning on the unit, because this is a 2011, and on the newer models, if you just plug in the adapter, it would automatically turn on. But this one, I have to actually short a couple of pins together to actually get it to turn on. But first, what I'm going to do is take a couple of readings first. while it's plugged in, I'm going to look at the fuse up here. And like I said, I should get 12.6, give or take a few, because there's always going to be a deviation of voltage, plus or minus a few, you know, points. So get this. I'm gonna, you know, if I'm getting, the rail should read 12.62. If you're getting 12.65, 12.6, 12.6.13, you're fine. You're within normal range. So let's see here. Probe on ground, and this is pin 2. I'm getting 12.6463. I'm good. And now let's go down to the U6901 chip. Again, I'm going to measure pin 5, and I should get the PP3V42 voltage. So probe on ground, pin 5. I'm getting 3.41, so it's good. So now I'm going to test this by, I'm going to unplug it real quick here, and let's see, I'm going to flip it over. Let's go back. I'm going to put the memory chips back in. I always remove these anytime I'm doing any type of work on the board. I don't like to keep them in. All right. Yeah. Plug it back in. We're still getting the green light, as you can see. All right. I want to make sure you could still see it on camera here. Oh, where are we at here? All right, so here's the fan over here. You see it's off. So now what I'm going to do is, and we still got the green light. Now I'm going to initiate the turn on. So I'm going to short these 2 pins over here. And if everything works, the fan should start spinning. There we go. We got fan spin. That's awesome. So I'm going to unplug it. And let's see. What I'm going to do now is put it back in the housing and then do the connectors. I want to make sure we do have backlight and everything on the screen. So let me get the body here. Let's see. Got the keyboard connectors over here, so let's get them out of the way. We got the fan, we got the speakers, hard drive. All right, let's get these. All right, I'm just gonna do a quick dry run before I go ahead and get everything back into place. So let's plug him in. Okay. Hard drive plugged in. Let's get this guy plugged in. got these two connectors left at the top here. And then the keyboard, I gotta turn it around here so I can... I always have a hard time with this guy down here. Ugh. There we go. Alright, so... I'm not going to worry about the battery, so let's get the adapter here. Plug it in. Still getting the green light, so that's a good thing. Let's move this guy out of the way here. Alright. And you can see it on the camera, so I'm going to turn it around here. So alright, so let me initiate the 2 pins to turn this guy on, and want to verify that we are getting the backlight and everything is working, just due to the liquid damage that did happen. Alright, fan is spinning. Oh, the chime. There we go. Got the Apple logo. So this is great. So the only thing that was wrong with this was, like I said, the U6900 chip was missing. Not sure if it got knocked off when the repair shop prior to me put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, or they removed it and didn't put it back on, put it back into place. I don't know. It looked like it was ripped off, just the way how the solder was still kind of like, you can kind of see the leg was like where the indentation was at. So to me, it almost looks like it did get knocked off. And the other power rails were present, PP bus G3 hot, and then the PP3V42 line were present. So the only thing that was the culprit was the U6900 chip missing. So yeah, so this was a successful repair. I do hope you did learn something from this. Yes, it was a fairly quick repair, but that's okay. I will take these. Sometimes you're going to get an easy repair. Other times you're going to spend hours and hours trying to figure something out. I will take the easy repairs in a heartbeat. So yeah, like I said, I hope you did learn something. Please like, share. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And until next time, have a good one.